What's up, guys? Thomas Mott here. Welcome into a bonus. We call it Emergency Thomas Mott Show here on a Wednesday afternoon. I already did a show earlier this morning, but the Eagles have signed a defensive tackle to possibly help out with the run game. We're going to break it all down for you guys here on this show. Let's just jump straight into it. No more BS, no, talking about this or that. Straight to the Adam Schefter tweet, as they have signed two-time Pro Bowler Linval Joseph, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. Quote, the former Giant second-round pick, who also played for the Vikings and Chargers, is planning to sign a one-year deal with the Eagles, per sources. The 34-year-old Joseph will embark upon his 13th NFL season for a team that needs run support. Adam Schefter would go on to say, Linval Joseph believes he is ready to play and could make his Eagles debut Sunday versus the Colts, end quote, a.k.a. Sunday versus Jonathan Taylor, because that's exactly why they signed him here on a Wednesday afternoon. So let's go ahead and give a little more detail here. ProFootballRumors.com has a better write-up in terms of who Linval Joseph is, because I'll be honest, I was like, who? And then I read up on him and I was like, oh, it makes some sense. Quote, Linval Joseph will have a chance to see action in his 13th NFL season. The Eagles are signing the veteran DT, according to Adam Schefter of ESPN. Former Giants, Vikings, and Chargers interior defensive lineman recently visited the Jets. No signing followed, but the Eagles provide an opportunity. Philadelphia has struggled against the run in each of the past two games. Joseph stands to provide some help for an 8-1 team on this front. After playing out his 2-year Chargers contract, Joseph has spent the past 8 months in free agency. He will join an Eagles team that has devoted significant funds to its defensive line. Philly recently dealt for Robert Quinn, added the veteran edge rusher to a D-line that already featured 5 veteran contracts: Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Javon Hargrave, Josh Sweat, Derek Barnett, and first-round pick Jordan Davis. His team has seen Davis's recent absence hurt its efforts against the run, end quote. So there you go. They went ahead and signed a defensive tackle. Now, it's an old defensive tackle, but really, you think about how many snaps Jordan Davis played the first couple of games of his NFL career, and it was like 20 to 30. I think you move Linval Joseph right into that number. First down run situations, 3rd and 1, go-to-go situations. He's going to see some, run-clogging play time, and Philadelphia desperately needs this from a guy who actually was pretty productive last year. Look at this, okay? I was surprised that the 31 or 34-year-old who was drafted in 2010 was this productive in 2021 with the Chargers. Look at this, nose tackle. He played in 14 games. He had 1 sack, not there to get sacks. He's there to stop the run. 57 combined tackles. 57. 3 TFLs, 2 quarterback hits. That's not bad. And you go back the past couple of years, 62 in 2020, 44 in 2019, 58 in 2018. I mean, the guy's a tackling machine, and that's exactly what you signed him to do, as Philadelphia, like we talked about in my show just a couple of hours ago, needs to sign somebody to essentially replace Jordan Davis and help out with Fletcher Cox, because Fletcher Cox has been really bad this year. And it's not anything against, Cox. The guy's a beast. The guy's an Eagle legend. The guy is, he's a Pro Bowler in the past, but clearly age has caught up, and he will not be an Eagle after this year after being cut and then re-signed to a 1-year deal. This is a very solid move for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, is this going to solve all of the Eagles' run defensive issues? Probably not. But now you have Joseph and Jordan Davis, right? When Jordan Davis comes back, all that pressure is not going to be on a guy who had a very bad ankle injury, and it's like day one, Jordan, you got to save us, help us. We're playing Derrick Henry this week, or we're playing Saquon Barkley or Tony Pollard. Now you have somebody who is a veteran who can help, not only mentor Jordan Davis, but play alongside Jordan Davis and hopefully stop teams from running all over the Philadelphia Eagles, who, again, the past 2 weeks, you saw Dameon Pierce do it, and then you saw really a very mediocre rushing football team with the Washington Commanders. They're not anything special. They ran all over Philadelphia, and even though it's kind of funny how we're like panicking, it's like, oh my gosh, the Eagles lost. They're still 8-1, and they're going to be just fine. But with the 4-game stretch coming up, we got to play the Packers and Aaron Jones, and you got to play the Colts and Jonathan Taylor, and you got to play Derrick Henry, and you got to play Saquon Barkley, and then you got to play David Montgomery, and then you got to play Tony Pollard, Alvin Kamara. It's all good backs the rest of the way. It's all good running backs, and so Philadelphia makes a much-needed signing, bringing in a veteran who might not be a massive, stat compiler in terms of sacks and TFLs. Clogging the run, being a big physical body is exactly what Philadelphia signed him for. The dude's 6'4", 329. So, come on. I mean, I'm close to 329, but he's really, right there at 330. That was a joke. Okay, quickly, other news that happened just yesterday. The Eagles did make some practice squad changes. Nothing crazy, but worth noting. They have cut a wide receiver and signed a safety, as Bleeding Green Nation has the article. The team has officially announced they released wide receiver Auden Tate, who they originally added to the scout team ahead of Week 1. Raise your hand if you remember Auden Tate being an Eagle. I Did not. I can't raise my hand. I totally forgot. I was like, oh my gosh, Auden Tate was an Eagle. Remember, this was supposed to be like a star in the National Football League, and then he never turned into a star in the National Football League. So, you learn something new every day, that this guy was actually in the practice squad. I should have known better. Anyway, quote, the Eagles have as many as 4 receivers on the practice squad at one point, but are now down to 2 after cutting Tate and Deon Cain. Both of those players offered a track record of NFL experience, but were not viewed as developmental prospects. With Tate out, looks like the Eagles are filling a spot by signing free agent safety Marquise Blair, a second-round pick, number 47 overall, by the Seattle Seahawks in the 2019 NFL Draft. Blair visited the Eagles on Monday and is signing with their practice squad. This much according to a report from Aaron Wilson. The team has not officially confirmed the Blair signing. Blair, 25, has logged 3 starts in 25 games played. Seahawks waived him after a disappointing summer, then joined the Carolina Panthers practice squad, and they used his max of 3 temporary evaluations for the team before cutting him earlier this month. In addition to having experience at safety, Blair has also played in nickel cornerback. That's noteworthy since the Eagles just put Avonte Maddox on injured reserve. Blair offers more depth in the secondary. He's also made some positive special teams plays early in his career, so he's an option to play on that unit. So, it's not a big deal. Obviously, the Joseph signing is a lot bigger, but it is worth noting they brought in somebody who could be a nickel guy with Maddox out for who knows how long, at least the next 3 weeks, as he was placed on IR. Kind of fun to look at who's actually on the practice squad. You kind of forget that there are, 16 players here. Blair, Fred Johnson, Gerdry, I have no idea who that is, Teron Jackson, defensive end, Greg Ward, forgot about him, interesting, Tyrese Robinson, Johnson, Mac McCain, Davion Taylor, remember him? He's a third-round pick. Devin Allen. Apparently, they don't want to elevate Devin Allen despite Britton Covey being terrible at kick return. Kennedy Brooks, Christian Ellis. Boy, Kennedy Brooks is a practice squad guy. Why not elevate him? Let's see. Togiai, Cameron Tom, Marvin Wilson, and Matt Leo. And then, of course, the injured reserve practice squad is Jared Williams. So, a couple of moves. Now, this is not, again, let's just finish the show quickly by saying this is not a groundbreaking move. I think Ndamukong Suh, as I mentioned in an earlier show, would have been a much bigger signing, much more flashy signing. But clearly, they probably at least made a call to Suh's agent because Suh is essentially Linval Joseph. It's like, take your pick, right? Who do you want? You want Suh or Linval Joseph? We don't know the contract money here yet, but I assume it's very, very cheap, probably a veteran minimum. And as I said in my show earlier this morning, the odds of Suh, the reason Suh is unsigned was probably because he wanted too much money. And guess what? That's probably exactly what happened if they did make a call. Although I have no insider information on this, and so take it for a grain of salt for what it is worth. But the Eagles understand that the defensive line is an issue, and hence they went ahead and made a move. So credit where credit is due. Good job, Howie Roseman. You saw this all off season long. We know they needed to go ahead and add a center to possibly replace Jason Kelce next year. They did. They needed a defensive tackle. They drafted Jordan Davis. They needed a wide receiver. They traded for A.J. Brown. They needed a safety. They needed an outside linebacker. They needed a pass rusher. Robert Quinn stunk, but they needed a pass rusher, and they've done it. Philadelphia is all in. They look around the NFC. They look around the NFL. All these football teams have flaws. The Viking secondary is not as good as you would have thought. Their offensive line is not as good as they would like. Dallas obviously has some serious offensive deficiencies without a number 1 or number 2 wide receiver. The Giants don't have that great of a roster, and a lot of people think they are fool's gold. The Buffalo Bills can't run the football. Kansas City Chiefs are probably the best team in the AFC, but they have to go through a gauntlet of other AFC teams, including Cincinnati and Tennessee and the Chargers. There are so many teams with flaws this year that if Philadelphia can fix their one flaw, which is run defense, they will be the number 1 seed. They will have a chance to host the NFC Championship game and have a chance to go ahead and win a Super Bowl. This cannot come at a better time with Jonathan Taylor and the Jeff Saturday-led Colts coming up on Sunday on the road. So good news here. Thumbs up for good news. Always hit the notification bell. That way you're notified whenever we have good news, as I try to get you guys everything update regarding your Philadelphia Eagles or the National Football League, because it's not just a Eagles show. It's an NFL show. I talk NFL stuff all the time here, and that is the goal of the show, to talk about whatever I want because I'm able to do that. Again, Thomas Mott with the update. See you guys.